What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Donrico from the Imperial Empire, back at it again with another one. Um, so I wanted to talk to you guys something about time management, really. And normally, I don't really go too deep into things like this, but in this context, I want to speak it specifically because I promote authenticity in my channel. I want to talk more about how it is that I balance a 10 and a half to a 12-hour work day 5 to 6 days a week on top of whatever it is that I do from a side perspective, whether it be a content creation or figuring out how to structure a business, etc. Like I just want to kind of like approach it from that perspective too, how I balance my fitness, how I balance my mental health and all of that, etc. So the hardest part about all of this, guys, and it's very simple to understand, but in terms of execution, it could be extraordinarily difficult, complicated, it could be stressful. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, and other times it can quite easily lead to a series of burnouts. And I'm not saying that these things never happen because eventually you are going to come across these things, but there are times to where you're going to feel that it's a bit too much, and the most important thing to understand in all this is to keep going. It's to never quit, because once you quit, you're definitely not going to get it done. So I'm just going to get right to it. I'm not going to waste no time. This is actually going to be a surprisingly short video for y'all, but I just want you guys to understand something. The hardest part about managing, whether you got a 9 to 5, well, technically in my instance, I don't even call it a 9 to 5. It's more like a 9 to 6 to 7:30, depending on just the context of what it is that we're speaking on. Because again, I'm speaking at it from a perspective of someone who works 5, 6 days a week, 10 and a half to 12 hour shifts, depending, right? Depending on the business needs of my job. But how do I balance all of that and then still find a way to do content creation on the side? Or how is it that I manage having to at least, the very least, one day off or maybe 2 days off if I'm lucky? Or how do I have a life outside of my regular 9 to 5 and still have time to dedicate myself to fitness, dedicate to myself time for my mental health and the things that are really truly important to me? The hardest thing is time management in this instance. But I would argue it's not, it's more than the time management. It's mainly, and I'm just speaking at it from my perspective. It might be different for you guys, but I just kind of want to tell how what it is that's kind of worked for me. It's just mainly focusing on the things that actually push the needle forward. So, I mean, as I'm recording this video, I'm getting things set up for tomorrow on my computer, and it's just about it's the willingness to make the sacrifice and having the grit to continuously endure. Most people, when they have a 9 to 5, their 5 to 9 is essentially just time for them to relax, decompress, chill out on the couch, play their video games, go out for drinks, party, etc., schmoozing if you got someone. But for me, it's a bit different because for me, it's more long term. What do I want to get out of this long term? And the focus for me has primarily been, listen, if I'm whatever it is that I'm doing, if it's not pushing the needle forward, meaning if it's not contributing to my future or to my betterment long term, I'm not doing it. I put down the video game controllers a long time ago. I don't really watch too much television. As a matter of fact, if I do watch something, it's only when I'm eating. But once I'm done eating, I just turn that off and I continue doing whatever it is that I need to do. And a lot of it is just getting into the habit and the routine of, I wouldn't even say forcing myself to do it, but mainly just doing the work that I know needs to be done whenever I get off of work. Because a lot of times the inertia, especially when you're getting off of work, can be very hard and it can be very high due to the fact that you might be physically or mentally exhausted depending on the type of work that you do. So a lot of the times when I get off of work, I come straight home, I get my gym stuff ready, I make my protein shake, I drink whatever non-stim pre-workout or whatever it is that I do to kind of get me hyped up a little bit, and I'm off to the gym. I don't ask questions. I don't give myself an out. I just get dressed and I get going. A lot of people ask me how it is that I stay active despite my busy work week. That's how I do it. And on the days that I don't do workout, and I've kind of set up and structured it in a way to where I work out almost every other day because I have other things outside of fitness. Fitness just happens to be the disciplinary thing that anchors me. The other days where I don't have fitness, I normally on my way back home, I might pick up something light to eat, come back, eat a little bit, and that's like the max of my resting time. And then I'm immediately back on the computer and whatever it is that I'm studying like for being AWS Cloud Solutions Architect, or I might be working on my content like I'm doing right now. And that's what I'm doing pretty much until I have to shower and go to sleep. So it's mainly about the 5 to 9 part is just pushing myself to do things that is actually going to push the needle forward for me. And that's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require long term dedication. It's going to require patience and it's going to require sacrifice. And some grit is going to have to be involved, guys. Sometimes you might even have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep. I know from a fitness guy, it's not very healthy, but again, I view it as a short-term sacrifice, and that's how you guys have to view this view this in the same way. It's somewhat of a short-term sacrifice, and I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times, most people cannot do it. They have not built the consistency, and they quit too early. And the hardest part for me, admittedly, is just being consistent with it all because it could be overwhelming at times. But I do understand that consistency is what's going to compound over time. So I got a lot of things going on. Maybe I need to decrease the amount of activities that I do, but that's pretty much how I kind of like just balance it out. The hardest part is just the time management aspect. It's just the having the grit to continuously endure when it gets hard. And you cannot give into your emotions here. You cannot give into your feelings because if you do so, a lot of times, especially coming from my perspective, there may be a bit of anxiety or there's just going to be a lot of inertia because you just got off of work, especially working those long shifts, dealing with the mentally taxing stuff that you got to do at work. Everybody, listen, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter who you are. Your job is going to be taxing to some degree, unless you truly are passionate about it and you enjoy it. But even then, for most of us, it's going to be taxing to a degree. The last thing you want to do is do more work on top of it. And changing your perspective perhaps is another trick that I use to kind of push myself towards a better ROI when it comes to allocating additional time towards the thing that's going to push the needle for me long term. Guys, at some point you're going to have to make a sacrifice. My sacrifice is hanging out with people, having fun, going to parties, all that stuff. Like I don't do any of that. To me, it's a complete waste of time. And when people continuously tell me, "Hey, you need to relax, you need to do this, you need to do that," I kind of just listen and say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I understand, I know." And it literally goes in one ear and out the other because I know what's important for me long term. I know what it is that I have to do, and I know that working on this is what's going to give me a greater return on my investment, a greater ROI. So you just gotta be intentional with your time, and you're just going to have to get straight into it. Don't give yourself time to truly relax. Just jump straight into the next thing and jump straight into the next thing. And I found for me personally, it's much easier to lay my head on the pillow at night and go to sleep more quickly because I have done everything I can. I left it all on the floor that day. And listen, this is an endurance race, guys. A lot of people give up because they don't get the results quickly. The important thing to remember here is to not stop and to be more intentional with your time. That's really all it comes down to. How badly do you really want it? Are you willing to make the sacrifice? Are you willing to endure to get to the results? Are you willing to push through the valley of disappointment to get to your upward breakthrough? Most people quit. It's just as simple as that. And I have to be the example and not quit myself. I'm kind of accountable to you guys, which is also why I actually do these videos. It's kind of gone beyond just learning to speak more effectively or speak more efficiently or to communicate more efficiently, I should say. And it's more so I use this kind of like as a system of accountability, if you will. So that's the hardest thing about doing whatever it is I do. And people say like, how do you work so much and then still stay fit? I just do it. I know people want to hear a deeper answer. They want to hear like these tips and tricks and these hacks and stuff like that. But it's really no tips, tricks, and hacks, guys. It's just the willingness to continue to push and do the work. You just got to push and do it. You just can't give yourself an out. You just got to do it. If you have that mentality, it's easy to translate into every other aspect, especially if you're successful in one. I'm successful from a fitness perspective on that end. So it's kind of easier to translate that into other endeavors. It's just, how badly do you want it? Are you willing to make the sacrifice? And can you endure long enough to get to the results? That's what it really comes down to. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Unless we are growing, unless we are trying to intentionally drift towards the discomfort, we're not going to grow. It's 2026 and we should be beyond that by now. We should be leveraging artificial intelligence. We should be in the best shape of our lives in terms from a physical fitness perspective and a health perspective. We should already shift our mindsets. We should be adopting mindsets and mentalities of abundance and not of poverty. And we should already be on our way towards being the best version of ourselves, or at least being a better version of ourselves, and changing our environments, changing our friends groups, changing. And that's not because they're bad people. I've done numerous videos on that. You're trying to become a better version of yourself. And sometimes you're going to have to suffer and go through a period of temporary discomfort in order to get there. And even after you get there, there's always going to be another mountain to climb. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just climbing mountains at this point. I've been locked in and I've been climbing mountains. I've not been going out. I've not been having fun. If I'm not pushing a needle forward, if I'm not continuously learning then what it is that I'm doing, all right. Just a bit of my perspective of why it is so the hardest part, or the hardest parts of juggling such a busy 9 to 5 work schedule and still having the time to do whatever it is that I need to do. It's because I just want it bad enough. I want it more than most of you guys do. And I'm willing to make whatever sacrifice that I have to in order to get to it. That's really all it comes down to. And if you can't understand that, then you have to look within yourself and ask yourself if this is what you really want. And if not, you can live a regular life and that's totally fine if that's what you want. But I'm not meant for a regular life and I don't want a regular life. I'm just being honest with you guys. All right? So that's just my story. That's just my tips on it. That's just my perspective. Take it however it is that you will, but it is what it is. All right? So, it's your boy Don Rico signing off. I got to get off here and continue whatever it is that I'm doing. It's already like past 10 p.m., leading it to 10:30. I should be sleeping. I got to get up about 4 in the morning, but it doesn't matter. I got to keep going. I got to keep going, especially when I have this energy. I have to take advantage of it while I still can, especially now that I don't have to actually work tomorrow. So there's no really pressure to get up super early, but I get up early anyway because that's just a disciplinary part of what it is that I do. All right. Catch y'all on the flip side. Deuces, y'all.